Welcome back, you guys. How you all doing today? I'm EFC, this is Blue Lions TV, and today we have some more news to break down and discuss because right now, today, there are 6 days left until the window does end for the season. The window ends on the 31st of August at 11 PM UK time. So within these next 6 days, a ton of business will come. We are expecting to announce at least 2 new signings before the window does end. So naturally, news reports will be coming even faster and in more volume. So in today's video, I'll be discussing the latest updates surrounding Kounde and Saul. To continue on, we'll be discussing Luis Diaz from FC Porto, as reports are suggesting from Portugal that we are meeting and holding talks with his reps for this week. And of course, you guys, there are some surprising reports involving Loftus and a loan move to AS Roma, so we've got a ton of things to discuss today. I hope you guys will enjoy. Of course, smash that like button, get involved in the comments, and hit the notification button. Without wasting any more time, we talk Ruben Loftus-Cheek because reports came out today suggesting that Mourinho wants him at Roma for this season. Now, right now with Roma, they are hoping to do business to sign a midfield player to add to their team. Mourinho isn't fully happy with the balance he has, and at this point in time, Roma are in the market looking at potential candidates to come through. One of those candidates is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and reports are suggesting that the club have set their valuation, and that would be another loan move, wages being subsidised, and there would be an option to buy sets at £16 million come the end of the season. So I'm guessing that's around like 20 million euros for Ruben, which of course it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but I don't know, man, it's weird. On one hand, we know how the injuries really affected him. I mean, the guy was out for like literally 2 years. For a year, he had to regrow the muscle back on his calf. I mean, it was a very serious injury, and credit to him, he came back from something very difficult like this and has come back to try and play his game. But of course, naturally, when you're out for that long, it is gonna affect your progress at times. For me, I'd always have that faith in him, and because again, I'm one of those guys, my philosophy is that if you actually believe in people, not just in football, but just for how I see life, if you believe in people, if you give them that confidence, and if you make them feel they can do something, and they have that environment there, then yeah, you're going to see people perform at their very best. I know it doesn't really apply to football, to be honest, which is a shame in my opinion, but it is what it is. But a part of me would always feel like, maybe we could have done more to help him refine his form like this. But of course, AS Roma, working on Mourinho, working with Tammy Abraham too, seeing how, that league in Serie A has really benefited Tomori plus many more. If Ruben, which is looking very likely, won't be featuring much this season, then I personally think a move to Italy, a move to work under Mourinho could be the best thing, because I feel like he would get to play in his best position, which is box to box. Alongside Tammy, they could form quite a good relationship, and at this point in time, I feel like I'm maybe slowly accepting more that I don't know if Ruben will get many opportunities anytime soon, which is obviously going to be a shame for me. You guys know I'm a big fan of him, but at the same time, I think this is potentially a great loan move as well. If he smacks it there, does bits, I mean, who knows what could potentially happen for next season, because his replacement is only going to be signed on loan first. So maybe this is the final loan move that he really, really needs before we fully have concrete decisions and plans for him. If he comes back, has another pre-season, then we'll see what he can do. So that's the first story out of the way. How do you guys feel about that? Do you want to see Ruben given an opportunity, or do you think it's best to just accept things and let him move on? So right now, we move on to the second story today, and let's discuss the latest updates surrounding Saul. Now, as we both know, only us and Man United are the 2 clubs showing the strongest interest to sign him during this period. The good news we have, though, is that Saul has chosen to sign for us and prefers to play for us instead. I think immediately that just shows his immense intelligence. I can't see why he could ever turn us down for Man United. We have an exciting project, one of the best managers in the world, and we have the results of the trophies we've been picking up recently. So he's played against us. He knew very well himself just how good we are as a team. It's the right move for him personally. Of course, you guys, we must get back to the news discussion. And the little slight hold up in this deal comes down to whether Atletico will let him leave, if there's an obligation to buy at the end of that loan deal, or if there's going to be none, and if that's only going to be an option. Of course, if it was an obligation, you guys, there would be probably clauses that get activated. I'd imagine, let's say, after Saul plays a certain number of games, that's automatically just activated, and we'd have to sign him for 34 million. I don't think that's something the club want to do. We've been here before, And I understand why maybe we're trying to do a similar deal like this, because we did something like this for Cover those seasons back. In the end, he impressed. We signed him afterwards at the end of his loan spell, and that was his story. The same thing must apply with Saul, because I get it. His valuation's down right now. He doesn't really have a set place in the team. He's still a decent player. He's still a good player. And whilst we need reinforcement in midfields, maybe it does make sense, spend 10 milli, get a loan spell, see how he does here for a year, and then assess what the plan is for afterwards. I think the main benefit that we are going to get from Saul is that he is that versatile utility man that I personally think that Tuchel has really always wanted in the squads. When he was speaking to Hoffman for Borussia Mönchengladbach, at the time, I thought he was going to be the first deal we did, because there was so many reports coming out, so much detail and nuance surrounding that story. But in the end, he wasn't needed. So I guess Saul, in that sense, does tick that box. He'll come here with a fresh new start, playing in the Premier League too. Like I said, you guys, you know my thoughts and opinions on him. I feel like I'm entitled to say that, because he's a player that I have been keeping up with. I know how he's been progressing. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have an open mind and opinion to see how he does. I've never been like that, and I'm never going to be like that. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens with the story. But for me, I feel confident that this deal will get wrapped up soon. The player wants us. Atleti do want to sell. I feel like they will budge and they will accept an option to buy at the end afterwards. And maybe if we just pay the full wages, maybe that's the way to get this deal done, especially if others will leave once this window ends. So right now, we move on to the next story. Right now, we move on to more updates surrounding Koundé, and there's some potential behind this one, you guys, of course. We know that he's a long-term target for this club for a very long time. Now that Zuma is set to be signing for West Ham very soon, after they agreed his personal terms and after they met the valuation that we wanted for him with their gentleman's agreement, that allows us and gives us the green light now to finalize this Koundé deal. Now things become interesting now, because Koundé's valuation has gone up by an extra 10 million. And that's because he wasn't signed earlier during the window in which he'd be 10 million less. So now that Zuma goes, now that we essentially get 25 million for him, we're going to offset that. Minus 25 million from 78 million, that becomes 53 million pounds. And a part of me is thinking, are we just going to pay the full money now to sign Koundé? I felt like already, didn't we have a bids around that ball range, around the 50 million mark? We were never going to pay the full amount until players were to go first. With Marina, she runs everything by the books. She's not playing around. Like she's all about timing. Can be frustrating for us fans. We believe in the hype. We want to see these things happen quickly, but it's been working for us. It's not perfect, because nothing is perfect, but this works for us most times than it doesn't. And now that Sevilla are essentially close to finalizing Koundé's replacement. This is Delaney from Borussia Dortmund, Canadian international, plays in midfield, but has been playing in defense as well. And for me, with Koundé being like a midfielder defender, that's how I've always seen him, like one of those Mascherano type of guys. This is a replacement that you want for Koundé. So it's a good move for Sevilla. And I'd imagine they don't want to jeopardize that, and they want to push that deal through. So it does feel like potentially are things aligning again in our favor. We've been here before, you guys. We've seen this with Kai Havertz, and how we just timed that deal to absolute perfection. Could we sign Koundé for less than his valuation? I think if we did, this would be a big win, because remember, you have to minus Zuma's costs, his player costs, which is wages, on top of the money we are going to receive from West Ham. So yeah, you guys, we end things with the final story, and we turn our attentions back to FC Porto, because reports are coming out from Portugal suggesting that us and Tottenham are going to be holding talks with the representatives of FC Porto's Luis Diaz. Now, Luis Diaz, of course, you guys, he is the Colombian winger. Very talented, very good. I'm sure we've all seen his incredible wonder goal scored against Man City, I think in last year's UCL or 2 years before that. But this guy is very talented, a goal-scoring winger. And I don't know how to feel about this story. When I read these stories, my first thing and impression every time isn't, oh, this is BS, this is crap, this is being made up, because I don't actually think with every story, people are just creating lies. Maybe if it's coming from Twitter, social media, I understand that, but when it's actually being publicized, they're not always going to take the piss like that. Anyway, the Portuguese publication have stated that Diaz's advisor, because players have reps, advisors, etc., he has been holding talks with potential clients. Now, with how this transfer stuff works, when a player eventually gets a move, his agent or his advisor or rep could have been in conversations with multiple parties, multiple people, multiple clubs over like a year or even 2 before finding like the perfect club and environment for his client. So talks of us and Spurs holding talks with him this week, I don't necessarily feel that could be fake. Does that mean that we're going to sign him this window? Probably no. But again, it's about building those relationships. It's about, having him on your books, looking at him even more. With a club like us, you guys, we are planning ahead every single time. The fact for me is that if I'm seeing reports looking at a winger, a goal-scoring winger too, who has UCL experience and ticks little boxes, could the club potentially be thinking about the long-term futures of maybe like Hudson-Odoi, Christian Pulisic, etc., etc.? That would not surprise me. That's how things work. Now, DIAZ does have a release clause set over 60 million euros. However, reports from Portugal are saying that he could be signed for 30 million pounds. So that does become quite interesting. His advisor has been to Spain and been to multiple clubs and parties already to hold discussions. So I feel that there could be more time for this deal. This player's contract does end in 2024. Right now, we don't need any attacking reinforcement whatsoever. I think we have a great attack, and it's just about giving them a season now to really see what they do. But from this story, my takeaway is that the club are just doing what they always do and planning for any foreseeable futures. So you guys, how do you personally feel about Luis Diaz one day potentially even being here? Or how do you even feel about even being linked with a player like that, or linked with, attacking wingers? How do you feel? But for me, this guy is a very good player. I think he'd absolutely do bits at a big team, works very hard, can dribble down both sides, cut inside, play on the outside, has a goal scoring threat. Yeah, I think he is a good player. But if this is for like a future season where we have to go in the market to replace someone, I think he'd be interesting to look at. But regardless, I'm going to wrap things up, you guys, now. Keep things moving. Thank you for watching. How are you feeling about how our window is going right now? If we do sign Koundé, get Saul, and of course, alongside the signing of Lukaku, how would you grade our window out of 10? So on that note, I'm EFC. This is Blue Line CV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.